Okay, so if you think SQL is just about writing select star from table, you are seeing just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, not even. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the complete architecture of SQL commands. Let's get into it.
So let's just start with a really fundamental question. What is SQL really? For most of us, it's a tool we use to ask questions, to pull some data, to get some answers. But you know what? Its true power goes so much deeper than that. It's not just about playing data detective. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a huge part of the job, but it's only one stop on a much bigger journey that every single piece of data goes on. To really, truly master SQL, you have to start thinking of yourself as playing three different roles. First, you're the architect. You design and build the whole structure. Then you're the mover, filling that structure with life, with actual data. And finally, you become the guardian, the one who protects it all. That right there, that's the complete database journey. So, let's start where any good project starts, at the very beginning. Let's put on our hard hats and step into our first role, the database architect, using a set of tools we call DDL. DDL stands for Data Definition Language, and really, you should think of these commands as your architectural blueprints and your heavy machinery. They don't touch the data itself. They build the house, the tables, the views, the containers where all your data is going to live. And in your toolkit, you've basically got 5 core commands. Create is for building something brand new from the ground up. Alter is for renovations, knocking down a wall to add a new column. Drop, well, that's the demolition crew. It destroys something and it's gone for good. Truncate is like hitting a giant reset button. It instantly empties a table but leaves the structure totally intact. And rename, well, that one's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most important and dangerous thing to understand about DDL. These commands are what we call auto-commit. The second you hit enter, that change is instant and it is permanent. There is no undo button, there's no Control-Z. When you use a command like drop, you had better be 110% sure, because there is no coming back from it. All right, our architect has done their job, the house is built, the foundation is solid. Now it's time to actually move the furniture in. This brings us to our second role, the data mover, and our next set of tools, DML. DML, or Data Manipulation Language, is all about that furniture. It's how you work with the actual rows and records inside the structures that you just built. So if DDL builds the container, DML is what manages the contents. I love this analogy because it just makes perfect sense. Think of managing your data like you manage your closet. Insert is you adding a new shirt. Update is maybe changing its color. And delete, well, that's for getting rid of that one specific shirt you never wear anymore. See? Simple. Now this. This is one of the most classic tell me you know SQL interview questions you will ever get. What's the difference between delete and truncate? Well, here's the breakdown. Delete is DML. It's slower, you can undo it, and critically, you can use a where clause to be specific. Truncate, on the other hand, is that DDL command we just talked about. It's blazingly fast, it's permanent, and it removes every single row, no questions asked. Knowing this distinction is absolutely key. And speaking of being careful, here is a pro tip that could literally save your career one day. So many catastrophic data bugs happen because of a forgotten where clause on an update or delete, so you have to build a safety net. Here's how. First, you write a select statement with the exact where clause you plan to use. You run it, you look at the results, and you verify it's only touching the rows you want. And only then do you run the real command. Okay, so our house is built, it's filled with beautiful data. Now it's time for the fun part, the part most of us already know and love. It's time to become the data explorer. DQL, data query language, has pretty much one rockstar command, and that is select. Its whole job in life is to ask questions and retrieve data. This is how you explore the incredible world that you've just built and populated. So just how important is the select statement? Well, get this. Over 80% of all SQL queries that are run in production systems are select statements. Let that sink in. What that really means is that mastering select isn't just a good idea. It is the absolute core of your day-to-day work with SQL. And a really easy way to think about it is like this. Select is like typing something into the main Google search bar. But you almost never stop there, right? You use the filters on the side. Images, news, date ranges. That's your where clause. It's how you cut through all the noise to find exactly what you're looking for. All right, We've come a long way. We've built the house, we've moved in all the data, and we've explored every room. Now it's time for our final and maybe our most important role, becoming the guardian, using the control languages TCL and DCL.
First step is TCL, or Transaction Control Language. Think of this as your safety net when you're using DML. These commands let you bundle a whole bunch of changes together into one single transaction. And this gives you the power to either make them all permanent at once or undo them all in one shot. The commands here are super intuitive. Commit is your save button. It makes all your recent changes permanent. Rollback is your ultimate Control+Z. It undoes everything you've done since your last save. And save point is this cool little trick. It's like a bookmark in your work that lets you undo just some of your changes without having to scrap everything. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, DCL, Data Control Language. Now, this isn't about the data or the structure anymore. This is all about security. DCL is basically the bouncer at the club door, deciding who gets in and what they're allowed to do once they're inside. And this analogy is just perfect for today's world. The grant command, that's you sharing your Netflix password with a friend. They now have access. Revoke, that's you changing the password when you want to kick them off your account. Access denied. Simple as that. And I really want to stress, this is not just some academic concept. Improperly configured permissions, giving grant privileges to too many people for things they shouldn't touch, is one of the top causes of those massive headline-making data breaches you read about. So understanding DCL is really understanding modern database security. So there you have it. We've gone on the full journey, from architect to mover to explorer and finally to guardian. You no longer just ask questions about the data, you now hold the full set of keys to build, manage, and protect the entire database kingdom. So the only question left is, how are you going to control your data?